What's up everyone? Jughead's Journey here. Welcome back to our Let's Watch Jujutsu Kaisen series. Today we're going to be watching both episodes 13 and 14 together. So without any further ado, tune in, watch alongside with me during my full uncut reaction, and then stay for my deep analysis discussion afterwards. So, Jujutsu Kaisen episode 13, simply titled Tomorrow, in 3, 2, 1. Let's watch this. I already know this is going to be fucking crazy. Nanami and Yuji together fighting Mahito. And when we've seen how Mahito can effectively transform himself into whatever the fuck he wants. He's like metamorpho mixed with I don't know what. They're going to have to work together to create openings. And you can actually land hits on his soul. Now let's see what the hell Mahito transforms himself in. Ew. What the hell is that? An all-seeing eye? I was gonna say, he's like a combination of Metamorpho and the fucking T-1000 from Terminator 2. His left arm is just a blade. His right hand has an eyeball in it. And he just made himself a human sea urchin. Fuck him up. And he transformed into a child. Why would he do that? Okay, so right before he transforms, he builds up or charges up curse energy, so they can use that to read him. Why did he transform into a little what benefit was that? He had to transform back because he said one hit could probably kill him. And he keeps transfigured humans in his gut. He doesn't have what it takes to kill a human. Is that going to change? These aren't even... I wouldn't even see these as human. They look like little goblins. Creepy as fuck. Come on. Not just humans, but are these children? What are you gonna do? Okay, see, that's not a fucking human, man. I don't know. Yes, kill me. Have mercy on me. If they're begging to be dead, and he's doing them a favor. You're the stupid one. Saves him in the nick of time. That smile on his face. Now fuck him up. Now fuck him up. Now fuck him up. No, because they're gonna read the cursed energy. How it builds up right before you try to transform. You don't have time to transform. Uh-oh. Why are we using the word inspiration? Uh-oh. Don't tell me he just unlocked the domain expansion. Inspiration, right on the verge of death, is when you evolve. Domain expansion. What the fuck? Does that have to do something with the eye that's on his palm? Why was that oddly seductive? Dude. The artist that had to animate self-embodiment of perfection. Thank you for unlocking my domain expansion for me. And he can't get in. Because he needs to dispatch Nanami first before he can take you on. He was saying that earlier. I forgot about this fact. I always forget about these two things about an innate domain. He has no cursed energy, and all hits are fatal and cannot be evaded. I always forget that fact and why this is so serious. That I could never attain. I did not know that. That's the condition. I am literally in the palm of his hands. That's what it feels like, to be in the palm of his hands. That kind of gave me goosebumps. I love when you get a glimpse of the eyes underneath the goggles. And we just cut to Subway. Ooh, this is back when he was a salaryman. It's weird to see his eyes. Just a plain face. Oh, this is that little death. This is that little death. When your favorite sandwich shop stops selling the sandwich. That and finding hairs on your pillow. Oh, never mind. He had to move. This is not his sandwich shop. This is a new sandwich shop that he had to move to. Yep, they stopped selling. So now I have to go to this place. More expensive, too. Yeah, I would hope so. Nice suit. So he can still see the tiny little things, the world around him, but he's not interfering. Oh, and he's on like whatever Japanese Wall Street is. He's a portfolio analyst or something. Working in finance. Depression. Especially when you got this guy as your boss. Of course. Yeah. Late stage capitalism. Soul sucking. So year 2. Doesn't worry about the meaning of life or having a purpose. Earn enough money to retire by the time I'm 40? How the fuck is that possible? It sure as ain't hell possible here. I know you ain't in America. Good on y'all if that's possible over there. That ain't fucking possible here. Might not even have a retirement age soon. Not like we're getting Social Security anyways. Look at, she's reaching for that shoulder. Let me help you. You can do these small things for other people. Yeah, what kind of meaning is that? You do care about your purpose and what you're doing. The meaning of your life. Yeah, why does my meaningless job pay more than you? Your job that means more to the community. Quite the opposite. So he doesn't care about being seen as some weird exorcist anymore. A healer. Actually gotta thank you for doing something, for doing that. And that's when he makes the call to Gojo. And then it cuts to the scene that we saw him when he shows up. Oh, he's taking him off? I feel like shit just got serious. Is he ready to die? Yuji just broke through? He just broke through the fucking domain expansion. Ah, okay. He doesn't know that because he's only just learned it. He doesn't know the certain... yeah, you're almost welcoming people to come inside because, you know, only harm can happen to those inside. Once you're inside, you can't use cursed energy. Every hit is unavoidable and fatal, so it almost welcomes you in. But Mahito can't touch Yuji's soul. So what the fuck is he gonna do? Because he's gonna touch Sukuna's soul, and he cannot do that again. Yep. Oh, and inside the domain expansion, he's automatically... was he automatically touching everyone's souls without human contact? Was that the, like, the boost of I no longer have to... I must have missed that. I no longer have to physically touch you, and now you just pissed off Sukuna. The fuck did I tell you? Are they able to see him right now? He only cares about Megumi? Domain expansion shattered. From the inside. Whoa. He's oozing blood right now. Leaking. Put some pressure on that. Yeah, he's learning a lot. Are you sure? Just turned into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Bold strategy, Cotton. See if it pays off. Is it just gonna bounce back like rubber? Absorb it and then send it back? A ripple effect? Never mind. It looks like he's about to pop like a balloon. Ew. It's so weird seeing him without his goggles. Let's go. Back into the sewers. Or is that too much of a disadvantage? Oh, great. Well, that killed all the energy we had. And he's weaker. Oh, wait. Did that say Jogo or Gojo? Oh, lower than Jogo. Okay. He's not talking about Gojo. He's talking about Jogo. So he's lower than Jogo, and Jogo got his ass beat by Gojo. So they can all be wiped out, but as long as Sukuna is resurrected, doesn't matter. That felt like a good stretch. I can kill his soul as much as I want, but not his body. It was Sukuna who saved you. And he didn't even mean to. He killed those humans. What do you think now? He has pulled the trigger. He was talking to Junpei about that before. Once he kills his first human, what's gonna stop? It's gonna, you know, just cascade. And what's gonna stop him and change his mindset? They're in the middle. They're gray. And impossible. Because he's stubborn. I was wondering what flashback this is. This is Junpei. Who the hell is this? That looked like Junpei a couple frames ago. Who the hell is that? Oh, is that Junpei before he got his hair to cover up the scar? Why is he hurt? Oh. This isn't a flashback. Wait, is it a flashback? Or is this after the incident that happened in the gymnasium? I no longer understand what a proper death is. So at least until then... Until the day I kill him... What? 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 I'll make sure I won't lose to anything. Hell yeah. So, Jujutsu Kaisen, episode 14. Love how last episode, one-word title. Now, Kyoto Sister School Goodwill Event Team Battle Part 0. I didn't even know there could be a Part 0. But in 3, 2, 1, let's watch this. So a title like that is letting me assume we're kind of going back to normal routines. We're going to go to that tournament, you know, little battle arc between the schools. Jogo in a hot spring, smoking on a brain pipe. What the hell? There's Mahito. I recognize that voice. Just naked. What was in there? Let me be a little perv for a second and pause and see what the hell was there. See a Ken doll or what is there? I'm sorry. Oh! 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 Oh, you don't see it. Okay, never mind. Peaceful and tranquil. Good to heal. There's, fuck. Ghetto? You killed your new toy. That's already that's already the case. Yeah, that's under duress. Wouldn't work. Beaten it. I like just the bubbles he's blowing while he's pondering. Ghetto likes to hear that. Okay, we're all on board with my plan. For the age of curses will commence. Their utopia is a dystopia. Pretty selfless. I don't have to be the one laughing down the line when the age of curses is here. So they're both gonna try and gather all of the fingers. But Gojo wants to feed them to him? Ah, so they purposely led the bait fingers so that the school could collect them, like the one they left at Junpei's house. Now are we entering back into normal routines? What? Random TikTok idea. Tough missions, kind of a, not an existential crisis, but an epiphany kind of revelation. Oh, I forgot the higher-ups still don't know Yuji's alive. Speak of the devil? I don't think you're going to be getting this reaction. How much time has passed after all this time? So what are you gonna do? We throwing a party? This definitely ain't fucking it'll solve global warming. They're coming here. No vacation for you. So the Tokyo school won last year. Rika? Another name I gotta make sure to keep track of. Who the fuck is that? Who the hell's the guy on the right? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I know you. Don't remember your name. I know you. Fuck. Toto. And, Mai. Who the hell are you? And who the hell are you? But mostly, who the hell are you? This is like cursed Groot from hell. Toro. Okay, Momo. Let me get a pen. Momo. Okay, is this guy a robot? Ultimate Mechamaru. What the fuck? Okay, so 3 new characters for me to remember. And Miwa. Oh my god, how many people do I gotta remember? I'm gonna have to redo this note card because there's too many names and it's... Oh. There's Gojo. Is Yuji inside? Yuji's in there. Ta-da! Are they gonna be too shocked? Like, this guy should be dead. We kind of moved on. Is this a zombie? This is not going the way we... Uh-oh. I know him. He would have liked that. Too bad you didn't. And there's Masamichi next to him. Hello? There wasn't really good, you know, a good time to. Never a really good time to let y'all know. Wacky Curse Spirit Exorcism Race. First team that exercises the second grade curse in the designated area wins. Huh. So they just let them free to be exercised. She loves to see Gojo get manhandled and get disciplined. This could be very extreme bullying. That's at least how I'm taking. That's it. That is OP. Talking in gamer language. Ah, okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. The more powerful the command, the more energy it requires. And like a gun, it could backfire on him. Yeah, let's answer this. Why do we have a talking panda? Oh, damn, we got to give that back. Oh. I can punch real hard. He was chilling with Sukuna. True. His body can't die. Okay, hey, I thought that was strictly prohibited. What the fuck are you talking about? God damn. But you can't. I don't think they know about the binding vow, and they don't know how this shit is working. Okay, teacher's pet. Kiss ass. Yeah, I don't like any of you. You do not tell me what to do. And he's gone. Yeah, your objective isn't even really the game. Is this guy a robot? What is this? Is this like a wooden robotic vessel for some... I don't know what. I don't like this guy. I don't like Kamo. True. If all of y'all are in earshot. Nobara and Maki. He really is presenting himself as being the one in charge. Is it the principal? Is it Gakuganji? He can't be touched. You don't just resurrect just like that. Oh, I forgot. Off screen, he explained everything that happened. Hell yeah. I want this duo. I want this duo. I don't want to lose. Well, hey, I don't want to lose. Let's have that kind of conviction and resolve. It's already over? What the hell was that? That felt like 5 minutes. So let's discuss. A lot to talk about because we actually got a lot of information dumps today. If I understand correctly, episode 13 closed out the first core of season 1. And holy shit, what an episode to bookend for the first half of the season. The animation was incredible, the action, and just the spectacle. That's the word I want to use. But also the character building that's continued for Nanami and Yuji right up until the very last words of dialogue spoken. I'm not used to cores, since that's at least like, for me, a new thing in more modern anime, I guess. Considering most of the anime under my belt is 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and some 2010s stuff. But really, I'm moving myself forward chronologically. So cores is kind of new to me. And with that, when you have cores, the shift from episode 13 that ended the first core to episode 14 that started the second core was like totally unexpected because it was such a complete tonal shift. Nanami joins the fight against Mahito. Nanami can't do any damage to Mahito since he can't touch his soul, as he can't see it. He isn't aware of the soul because Yuji has Sukuna inside him. Sukuna's soul, he is acutely aware of the soul as like a concept, the shape and the presence of it, because there's another inside him, not just his. It's not like gaining extra physical vision, it's knowing the soul, that the soul precedes the body, not the other way around, which is how most sorcerers perceive the body-soul relationship. Remember, Mahito and Nanami were having this conversation in the sewers before. Mahito is a perfect curse against most sorcerers because next to no one can see, touch, sense the soul. Yuji can touch his soul, so he must physically be the one dealing the damage here. Nanami has the intelligence and understanding. He notices that Mahito, before he changes shape, he stores up cursed energy. That's your cue. That's the giveaway. That's the moment to strike. Mahito needs to get rid of Yuji. He can't fight both at the same time. Get Yuji away for a moment to handle Nanami easily on his own. Mahito, he like regurgitates several small transfigured humans and orders them to attack Yuji. These transfigured humans are so small and childlike. One of them even says to Yuji, "Let's play." So you immediately pick up, oh my God, these are children. It's really dark and sad. Mahito touched and disfigured the souls of even children. What a test for Yuji in this moment, who has never killed anyone, let alone is going to have to attack transfigured children. Mahito knows Yuji doesn't want to kill humans, let alone children. At least that's how Yuji sees it in his eyes. Even if they aren't really human anymore and are begging for death, like what happened to Nanami in the sewers, Mahito even says about Yuji, he doesn't have what it takes to kill a human. He's a stupid brat who can't separate his ideals from reality. Mahito is the physical manifestation of world's brutality, and he's going to forcefully attack Yuji's ideals. He is testing Yuji's limits, just as he did with Junpei. Prove that Yuji's limits and ideas and ideals are foolish. Saying, Yuji lacks what it takes. Saying his conscience is weakness. Seeing if Yuji's empathy becomes a liability. Mahito doesn't want or need to kill Yuji. Winning for Mahito is making Yuji kill someone. First, it was keeping Yuji from saving someone, which is Junpei, and now it's making Yuji kill someone because it vindicates Mahito's whole thesis or ethos that people are clay and ideals get crushed and die under pressure. So what will Yuji do? Nanami claps right back with the confidence. Those serious conversations the two of them had together where Nanami came to understand Yuji better. He tells Mahito, "You're wrong." He's right in the middle of making that distinction. And Mahito is wrong. Yuji does end the lives of those transfigured humans. And because they're children, we almost don't want him to. We want him to, but we don't want him to at the same time. Even those he has to get free and save Nanami. Ideals and reality don't have to only exist on different planes. Yuji rejects this whole thing. It is Mahito who can't fuse two truths. People are pliable, malleable, adaptable, or dynamic, but they're not putty to be played with. We practice in real time. We make good and ugly choices. We learn and we refine. And I like how Nanami just says he is learning. He's in the middle of it. That's what we all are. We're always in the middle of it. And Yuji, he's in the middle of naivete and cynicism, And then Yuji saves Nanami in time. They start wailing on Mahito together. Boom, boom, boom. Somehow, Mahito is hit by a wave of inspiration, as he calls it, like an epiphany, a revelation, like getting punches thrown on him, somehow inspired his being to unlock his domain expansion because he attains it right in that moment. Evolved his innate domain to be manifested and expanded. I don't know if it's fearing death. I don't know if he even fears it, or if it's from coming close to the brink of death, if that's what forcefully evolved or kicked in the front door to his cursed energy opening and unlocking domain expansion. Coming close to death, that increases your resolve to survive, and to survive means attaining, the ultimate ability. Or I try to think of other pop culture stuff where this kind of comes up, like Star Wars, where, intense emotions like hatred can keep you alive. You see that a lot with the Sith and, specifically Darth Vader, or a Dragon Ball Z Saiyan, situation where coming close to death makes you stronger. And so Saiyans purposely come close to death, right on the edge for them to recover, and it makes them stronger from that point on. Mahito unlocks his domain expansion and instantly sucks Nanami into it, which he calls self-embodiment of perfection. Sounds fucking sick, but I have no clue what the hell that's supposed to mean. Embodiment means to make the abstract, like an idea or a quality, concrete and feel tangible, visible, and real. So to make the idea of perfection concrete and tangible, self-embodiment of perfection sounds like making the self perfect. Still have no idea what that's supposed to convey or signify in this context here, unless it just means like his domain expansion is what's perfect, or his domain is the finished argument and his whole ethos. I also keep forgetting the main thing about domain expansions is that inside it, all hits are fatal and they can't be avoided. I gotta make sure I'm remembering that. I'm always forgetting this like very crucial part of why the domain expansion is like on the pedestal, is like top tier, is the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery. And talking about that, we learned that Nanami doesn't even have access to a domain expansion. It's something he's never been able to achieve, which makes it sound like it's not a physical limitation, it's a psychological one. There is something emotional or psychological blocking his ability the ability to unlock or access what he even said was the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery. So to me, I feel like everyone on Earth, sorcerer or not, has an innate domain, because from what I've understood throughout these episodes so far is that it's like what word am I trying to think of? It's just like a culmination of you. It's like the concept of the self and the ego. And in order to achieve a domain expansion, I don't know what's better to say. You either have to have a full grasp of it and a hold of it, or you have to let it all go. When it comes to the self and the ego, do you have to have a full grasp and full vulnerable transparency of the self and the ego, or do you have to let all of that go? And that's when you unlock it. I don't know. And maybe Nanami doesn't have that, he doesn't have that full grasp of the self or of the ego. I don't know. Since we get that entire flashback kind of showing his conflict about purpose and what he wants to do and be. I guess Mahito can access his domain expansion because his worldview and his self is so simple and he's so sure of himself. Idol transfiguration, that's crazy already, but as part of his domain expansion is like insane. And the animation for his innate domain was fucking awesome. How the camera, went above and tracked down into his mouth, showing all the hands. That was sick. Idol transfiguration normally can only work if Mahito physically touches someone. He can manipulate the soul if he physically touches the body. But inside his innate domain, in his domain expansion, he doesn't have to touch his opponent. They're literally in the palm of his hand. Even the floor they stand on is his hand. So he is always touching his opponent. You're fucked. That's what Nanami has gotten trapped in. He is in the palm of Mahito's hand and can't do anything about it. He doesn't have his own domain expansion. He can't touch Mahito. When Nanami is trapped inside, he begins to reflect on his life, thinking, this is the end. He thinks Jujutsu sorcerers are idiots, always ready to sacrifice themselves for others, forcing their comrades to do the same. And he says That's why he quit or ran away. Even he adds that little part, ran away. We see after he left Jujutsu Society, he became, what do you want to call him? Like a financial analyst of sorts, working at whatever the Japanese version of Wall Street is or something. He's like a portfolio manager or trader or something, working in finance essentially. He's training a new employee. He tells the guy, when people trust us with their money, they're trusting us with their lives. The boss comes in, typical tool, of course, and, cuts him off saying, like, what you need to think about first and foremost are the company profits. Oh, brother. So it immediately comes across like this is just a soulless capitalist career. Comparing money to lives, the most important thing being company profits, an obvious critique of capitalism from Gege. How money is synonymous with life. Profits first, people second. Profit is the metric. The capitalist system will always happily choose strategies that make quarterly earnings reports look good and cause social damage elsewhere without a care. Squeeze wages, lengthen hours, take away benefits, underfund public goods, all that shitty jazz. Nanami thinks to himself, I've never been the type of person who worries about the meaning of life or having a purpose. He just wants to make enough money to retire relatively young by the time he's 40. That's how I know this shit ain't taking place in America, because that's not fucking happening. So even he admits this job is just a means to a relatively happy end, in early retirement. He knows it sucks. It's meaningless and it's soulless, soul killing. If he cared about what he's doing with his life, if he cared about fulfillment or purpose, he wouldn't do this job. And he's saying that. But because he didn't at this time, he took the job. He comments about how, awake or asleep, all I think about is money. My job involves taking care of rich people's money and helping them get even richer. Again, sounds like a critique of capitalism. If you can convince people to trade time for money without asking what their time is actually producing, these companies can buy your waking hours at any discount. And it's interesting in economics, what I studied and got my degree in. We actually have a notation for free time. It's always interesting, these simple things you don't really think about. And, there's math for everything. We actually have a notation for free time, for, your life outside of work, your free time, your leisure, like your actual life. What's you, free time is actually the converse of, what you just call labor cost. Free time is the converse of labor cost. In economic notation, it's literally just one minus labor. In a perfectly balanced labor market, which doesn't exist, the marginal price of labor, your wages, is the same as the marginal price of your free time. So in layperson speak, in a perfect market, we work the number of hours such that we are indifferent between working another hour, earning another hour of our wage, and not working another hour, giving us an extra hour of free time. In a perfect world, you don't care if you work another hour or don't, because to you, your free time is equal to your hourly wage or your hourly salary. And reality works very, 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 very differently. We don't live in a perfect world by any means. Most of us work more hours for less pay and less free time than we want or need or frankly deserve. What we get paid is not equal to the free time we give up to work and the little free time that we do get. Most people statistically would happily work one less hour to have one more hour of free time, one more hour of your life back. Shorten the workday from 9 to 5 to 9 to 4. If that meant 1 hour less of pay, so be it. So we end up in a situation where an hour of free time is actually worth more to us than an hour of work and an hour of wages, because you aren't paid enough and you work too long, not getting paid enough. Practically speaking, again, layperson speaking, practically speaking, it means, if you make $20 an hour, chances are your free time is worth something like $25 an hour to you. An hour of your pay is not worth the value of an hour, period. You have to commute, prep, decompress. Many people have to, we're checking texts and emails outside of work hours, and everybody knows that, like, that work residue that lingers on you and in your mind at night after work. Like, it takes a while for you to, like, exit work mode, to decompress and get rid of that, like, work stench that's on you. All that makes your salary drop. If you earn $20 an hour, spend an hour commuting and spend a half hour answering emails off the clock, your real return is far less than $20 an hour. And the time you lose isn't just leisure, isn't just leisurely free time. It's your sleep, it's your quality of time with your partner, your kids, your family. It's your hobbies and your creative fun stuff. It's your social life with friends. We can't freely trade $1 of pay for $1 of time. Even something like health insurance, for example, being tied to your employment makes finding a job, a better job, really scary. The whole point is that it's designed to keep you where you're at. I don't know. It's just that was interesting thinking about Nanami and work culture in general. Yeah, especially in Japan, the typical salaryman, and add on to that, the world of finance and business. Those overworked, you're never really off the clock type of jobs, the hyper capitalist jobs. And I just think, how sad is it that all you can think about is money, how money and materialism consumes you, how work consumes your life. Our time split unevenly between labor and leisure, and not even Nanami's money. Him saying, even in my sleep, day and night, all I think about is money. It's not his money; it's the money of other rich people. All his job is making rich people richer. We see, while he's reflecting back, his memory leads us to a scene where he's at a bakery and he comments to the girl at the register, nobody would care if I weren't here, but people who enjoy your bread would be sad if the bakery was gone. Why does my job pay better? It makes no sense. This is where he begins to regret abandoning Jujutsu society for this crappy, normal life. In this job of his, he's just a cog in the capitalist machine that can be easily replaced. You're just a number, just another expendable, replaceable employee. And if you drop dead, your job is getting posted on the careers page in the next hour. His job isn't meaningful or important, so his existence isn't meaningful or important. No one would care if he dropped dead, if he quit the company, if no one saw him again. But real everyday people go to this bakery to buy bread and pastries and what have you, that they enjoy eating and enjoy having in the neighborhood. They look forward to returning. They make a routine out of it. They expect it to be there the next day or the next week when they want to come in again to buy more produce. Bread is the most simple symbol for food and sustenance, down to the Bible. Bread has obvious human use. Food, it nourishes you, it comforts you, it provides community. Shopping for groceries is a part of the human routine. Being a bakery worker is ordinary. Society praises the shiny suit job and shrugs its shoulders at the person who just, I don't know, I guess feed civilians in the neighborhood at some, small bakery. We've lost the plot here. If the bakery disappeared, it would have a real effect on real everyday people who now lost the place. They get food. There is real change and real disappointment, and people have to find a new bakery. This girl working at this small bakery affects more people's lives in a positive way by being there than he does being some portfolio manager, and yet he's paid more. His job is seen as more impressive or admirable, while the bakery girl gets paid less, and her job is probably looked down on in comparison by many people as it's not esteemed or impressive. You don't have a master's degree to work at the bakery. It makes no sense to him. He noticed there was a small, weak, easily defeatable cursed spirit weighing on this girl's shoulder that he could eliminate in a second, and we see that he does in one swift. That was a bad motion. In one swift arm movement, he kills the cursed spirit, and her posture instantly improves. She feels better and less tired. 1 second of sorcery produced a visible, immediate improvement in a stranger's life. By this simple act of sorcery, he helped this random girl in a real noticeable way, and by extension, helped keep this bakery open, which affects everyone else in the neighborhood. Because, what if she got sick and was unable to work? And by doing this for her, she gives him a real, genuine, heartfelt thank you, a moment of appreciation and gratitude, even if she doesn't understand what he just did or how. He recognized her needs, and she recognized him, recognized his acts. In real time, in that moment, the person right in front of him that he just helped says to his face, "Thank you." Real gratitude he can feel. He knows he did actually do something good. This goes back to my economics lesson earlier. Nanami spent a sliver of work time to remove the curse. She says thank you. That thank you for a second of work is worth more than his hourly pay at his office job. That thank you is something money fails to provide. You got to add two new terms to the equation. R for, let's call it recognition that is earned. And let's go with like M for moral consonance, the fit between your values and what your work actually does. That's how 2 seconds at most lifting a curse ends up being more than making some rich client $10 million more dollars. Making rich people richer, grueling, soulless ass work doesn't get a thank you. The most effortlessly quick act of jujutsu sorcery, helping a random girl at a cash register, influences real noticeable change. He does a good act and he receives a genuine, heartfelt, enthusiastic thank you. A moment of simple human connection. That's the moment we see Nanami call Gojo to ask, can I return to Jujutsu Tech? Can we talk? That sort of thing. That's when he realized he actually does indeed worry and care about the meaning of his life and having a purpose. He would rather be the idiot who sacrifices himself for others. Like he said, Jujutsu sorcerers are idiots. He would rather be that idiot. For a man who doesn't chase some grand purpose, the felt reality of, I helped this person, was enough to move him. And we return to the present. Because again, this whole flashback in his mind, he thinks, I'm about to die. My life it's over. I'm about to die. I'm reflecting. It's like when your life flashes before your eyes, or when you're thinking about, I'm a sorcerer. I'm an idiot. I put myself in danger, sacrificing myself, but this is what I want to do. And he accepts it. But let's talk about Yuji. Breaking through Mahito's domain expansion from the outside, saving Nanami's ass before he's killed. We're told through Nanami's inner monologue that, logically speaking, the stronger a barrier is from the inside, the more it's reinforced from the inside, the weaker it is on the outside. Domains are designed to trap the target inside it, not necessarily keep things out, because harm can only come to those who enter. It's like an inside out fortress. It's like a crab or lobster trap. So as I see it, domain expansions welcome intruders in a way. Come on in, because once inside you can't leave. The shell trades hardness for the ability to allow new prey to come in. Easy to enter because you can't get out. But Yuji is the one exception to this rule, I guess, in Mahito's domain expansion. Yuji wasn't included in being trapped alongside Nanami when Mahito triggered his domain expansion. You know, despite all three of them were literally practically touching each other side by side, standing together. And Mahito purposely omitted Yuji. And that's because Mahito didn't want Yuji inside, because he can't touch Yuji. If he touches Yuji's soul, he touches Sukuna's too. He was warned by Sukuna once already. And inside Mahito's domain expansion, you're literally in the palm of his hand, being touched without physically making contact with one another. Yuji is the one person you don't want to trap inside a domain expansion, because you're provoking Sukuna within. Sukuna cuts a deep, deep gash into Mahito. Blood pouring everywhere. The domain expansion disintegrates. Nanami is saved. Mahito escapes back into the sewers. And what I'm really intrigued by is Sukuna saying he truly, don't want to forget the word truly, to really emphasize it. He said he truly doesn't care about anything or anyone other than Megumi. Why Megumi? That's what's special about him? Did I miss something? There's no way Sukuna wants a student or anything like that. And is Megumi a part of his own sort of plan to live on? I have no idea, but like I know that Megumi is very important. Yuji and Megumi both are very important and close to Sukuna and whatever he's got going on. And there's that line from Mahito. He said, even if we're all wiped out, as long as Sukuna is resurrected, the age of curses will come. It's interesting to see Mahito, a very young and powerful curse, not have much ego or even priority for self-preservation. He's a dark, negative utilitarian, I guess is the only way I can put it. He's looking well down the line where, way down the road where the finish line is. And he isn't concerned if he's alive and here to cross it or not. After Mahito escapes from Yuji and Nanami, and the both are back, safe. I don't really know exactly where they are. I don't know if this is at Jujutsu Tech or not. When they're standing, leaning up against the railing, talking. I don't remember where that is. And I like how Nanami said, hey, I can't lecture someone who just saved my life. That would just be totally ironic and hypocritical, telling you what's right or wrong or how you should do or think about things. When I was just the damsel in distress and you saved my ass. I'm in no place to lecture you right now. And the two have a deep, vulnerable philosophical talk together to try and break down what and how Yuji is feeling. Yuji said, people die and there's no avoiding it, but they should at least have a proper death. And again, you got to remember earlier, he was forced to kill those transfigured children, despite him having previously vowed and talked about how he couldn't kill and doesn't want to kill anyone, because he figured, once he kills for the first time, it kind of opens that up to always be a possibility. It opens up a path to kill more, because and to become desensitized to the idea or the act of doing it again. Those children should have had a proper death. Some were even begging Yuji to kill them. Yuji even asks, what is a proper death? And we're supposed to ask that ourselves. Makes me ponder on it too. What is a proper death? And Nanami tells Yuji, even if we assume that good people dying peacefully and wicked ones being punished is the right way, most people aren't neither good or evil, and at the end of the day, death comes to us all, but it's never the same for any of us. It's the one game where all our chips are in. Trying to guide everyone to proper deaths sure sounds exhausting, Nanami says. He also tells Yuji, don't end up dying in the process. Just as I needed you to save me today, there will be many others who will need you in the future. And Yuji says, I don't understand what a proper death is, so at least until I do, until the day I kill Mahito, I'll make sure I won't lose to anything. That's what the title of the episode is about. The end of this core. Tomorrow. What do we owe the living and the dead? What can we actually carry? We live with what happened. We live with limits. We live with not knowing everything. And we live moving forward to tomorrow, another day. We lived to fight another day. He was trying to save everyone, or at least as many people as he could, like his grandfather said to. But he can't do that. He hasn't been able to do that yet. But there are going to be many people out there who need his saving. People are going to die, and that's unavoidable. He was trying to give those he can't save a proper death, but he admits here he doesn't even know what that means. He doesn't even know what a proper death is. So he was trying to give people something he didn't even know or understand or recognize. A proper death is, again, how it makes you ponder yourself, how you answer that question. And so it's like, to me, a proper death is first and foremost, a recognition of what you were. You were seen, you were here, you had a name, you were a person. You died recognized. You won't vanish into nothingness. That to me is the first step to proper death. And we know that Yuji insists on remembering victims. He also admits he's done with that no killing rule. He's going to kill Mahito. Mahito is a manufacturer of these improper deaths on purpose. He mutilates the soul. He uses them as props, leaves them unrecognizable. And what did I just say about proper deaths and recognition? So killing Mahito won't be purely revenge. It's more so also a case where killing aligns with protecting proper deaths. But not all roads should just lead to Mahito. That's dangerous, that kind of tunnel vision. Because everybody, everything and everyone outside, these blinders, and that can be friends and the people you care about and other people you need to save. And also your own self, you can't ignore all that. Like Nanami said, many others will need you. We also know now Geto's plan. The second core just immediately lets me know, fills me in on what Geto's plan actually is. Since he's been around here and there, and I've had no idea what this group of curses is up to. Now I know his plan, which they all agree is the better one. I like how Mahito admitted, my plan didn't go well. Let's just go back and stick to Geto's plan. And that is gather all the fingers and offer them to Sukuna, even if we're all wiped out in the process. We heard that before, last episode. Geto and Jogo share the same, again, I want to call it dark utilitarian perspective as Mahito. Remember episode 13, I quoted it, when Mahito said, even if they're wiped out, as long as Sukuna is resurrected, the age of curses will come. That's all that matters. They're all on the same page here. What they do, if they die, it will be for the greater bad, I guess I'll call it. In the future, in the long run, when the dominant or only race left on Earth is curses, I guess. I don't even know if you could call that a race. Even Jogo, who to me, he's a hothead, loud and obnoxious. Jogo, to me, I thought he would have had a huge ego. And even Jogo said, it doesn't have to be me who gets the last laugh in the dystopia centuries down the line. It's all well and good. It's all well and good as long as curses emerge as the true humans. Centuries. That's what I'm trying to get at. Centuries. They're looking down the road, down the line, centuries long. And I don't know. I found that very fascinating for, these dark utilitarians. I'm starting to call them. And Geto's plan. So there are 6 fingers at Jujutsu Tech. From what I understand, at least before Yuji died, the folks at Jujutsu Tech they want to feed them to Yuji to consume them. But they aren't sure how strong Yuji is as a vessel to hold Sukuna in. They don't know how many fingers Yuji could consume before going berserk and losing control. But Gojo, he still wants to do it right away. I don't know if he's like scheming to do it. I don't know. I presume because we know Gojo wants to build that team of strong sorcerers, strong young sorcerers to overthrow is this even the right word? The aristocracy, the elitist old guard structure of Jujutsu Tech and Jujutsu Society. Feeding Yuji the fingers will make him way more powerful, inheriting Sukuna's power without losing control. At least that's what Gojo thinks. While the rest of the higher-ups in Jujutsu Tech and society want Yuji executed dead. I don't know how this dynamic plays out, but this is why Jujutsu Tech is collecting fingers. And so Geto and them, they, better off letting them accrue all of them. Y'all do the work. We'll just let you do it. And as long as Jujutsu Society Tech, the principals, whoever makes the final, as long as they don't kill Yuji, cool. Because that's what they say. That's the worst case scenario. Yuji, don't kill Yuji. Yuji doesn't die. We'll let them do the work. We'll stand back, and they'll make their move when they want to make their move, as long as Yuji stays alive. And so Yuji is back at Jujutsu Tech, and he reunites with everyone. And that was a really funny scene. But also, Gojo is clever for tricking Yuji to make a surprise out of his return. Because it wasn't a surprise for his friends. It was Gojo wanting to surprise the Kyoto school principal, Gakuganji, like, hey, look who's back, fuck you. And Yuji joins his Tokyo team in the competition against the Kyoto school. And I love how Megumi immediately has his back and makes him look good, telling Maki that, in a brawl without cursed energy, even if everyone on the Kyoto team attacked him all at once, Yuji would win. And Maki's like, damn, this coming from the guy who just got his ass beat by Toto? Toto's on the other team, and you're still saying Yuji would win? Hell yeah, cool, okay. And we know Yuji is gonna have everyone on his ass, because Gakuganji, the Kyoto school principal, tells his students, you must kill Yuji. That is priority number 1. Fuck the actual task and the actual competition. Kill Yuji. This is where it gets complicated, because nobody's on the same page, and nobody knows anything. Nobody knows everything, but certainly just nobody knows anything at all, really. It's a fucking mess. The principal said he was told Yuji died by suicide. That's a lie. He was told wrong. He didn't kill himself. Gakuganji therefore thinks because Yuji came back, he isn't human anymore. He must be a curse. He's all curse. That's what he thinks. Sukuna has completely taken over Yuji's body. Yuji's gone. Sukuna's that. I don't know. And I don't know. But the point is, that's all incorrect. This is still Yuji. But they don't understand how he got resurrected and everything like that. Nobody, and like I said, nobody's on the same page. Now, if the principal said he must be killed because he's too dangerous and too much of a liability, too much of a threat, then he'd at least be not incorrect or wrong to want to kill him. If he's using that kind of reasoning, that Sukuna's in there, he might not be able to keep Sukuna down, especially if he starts eating fingers. So let's kill him. That you can still say no, but you can understand where he's coming from. Instead, he wants Yuji dead because he thinks he's not even Yuji anymore. He's not even human anymore. He thinks he's a curse. So the principal knows nothing, and the whole point, and again, nobody does, because only a handful of people have even spoken to or interacted with Yuji since combining with Sukuna, to see that it is his consciousness and Yuji is in control despite Sukuna being inside. I think you could count on one hand the amount of people that have interacted with, spoken to, and spent time with Yuji since being resurrected to know, yeah, this is Yuji. But it's also like Gojo doesn't know anything either. He doesn't know about the binding vow. He doesn't know Sukuna can just take control at any time. Yuji is indeed dangerous. So again, that's why I said, if Gakugandri at least said, Yuji needs to die because he's much too dangerous, that wouldn't be wrong. And it's just that, no one knows jack shit. Nobody knows anything. No one knows the facts. Nobody knows what's true. Nobody's on the same page. Not even the people in their own groups are on the same page. You see, Toto storm off during the conversation amongst the Kyoto crew. I don't know. It'll be interesting, once the whistle blows or whatever and the competition starts, how this all goes down. So I'm very excited to see episode 15 and 16, what goes down. So that's where I'm going to end today's discussion. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button to let me know, and subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop here. Keep the conversation going down in the comments below. Check out my Patreon for exclusives and unedited reactions. Having said all that, and with that said, so long, until next time, thank you, have a good one, peace.